Okay, well, we are here live again, and so we want you to go ahead and hit that notice button. I hope you already have done that and continue. We're trying to grow our audience. We're not just trying, we're doing it. We have actually seen an increase of our views on a weekly basis, but we need your help. We need your help. Whether there's a lot of organizations that I found out that they have been on Facebook for years and didn't know that you can get monetized on Facebook. And also a number that has been on YouTube. We in fact had a YouTube channel for God knows how long, definitely over 10 years, and was not aware to just recently that we could be monetized. And so periodically we would do a recording at an event, and periodically we'll put it out there. We did some community events, whether it's the community appreciation day. We just put a video out there, and we go maybe take a clip of that small video and play it over on Facebook. But we also did some fundraisers. You'll see fundraisers out there for United Way. We've done the 24-hour, campaign in fundraising campaigns, and so a few times we'll put short videos out there just to share among the staff, but also we'll put short videos out there to share with our audience. But what we have not been consistent with that. Come to find out that, of course, YouTube. The goal is to be monetized on YouTube is 4,000 views. So we need 4,000 views out there on YouTube. And then this have to happen in a 12-month period. So with a 12-month period, we need 4,000 views. And we also need 1,000 subscribers. And so that's why we want you to go ahead and hit that subscription button and also hit the notification bell. So anytime we just post information out here on YouTube, or we go live, you will get notified that we're live. And like I see your comments already that are coming in, those individuals out there live. So just let us know you're live. What's going to help us get this algorithm, really sparked up and keyed is that you comment as well. So if it's a thumbs up, but we would like for you to say something, say good afternoon, good day, and give us some comments, give us feedback, and also communicate with us while we're on. We'll be watching the feed as it go through, and we'll be able to tailor what we're talking about. We're going to continue to carry on a conversation, whether it's financial literacy, and of course trying to get you more financially stable. Definitely our key is housing, but not only housing, but stabilizing your home and also building wealth. And so that becomes wellness, because we want you to be healthy along with being enjoying your wealth as well. So that's what YouTube, and also Facebook. And so Facebook, I don't know all the guidelines in reference to being monetized on Facebook, but we are in the process. We are tracking. We have the monetization turned on. So this is a way to continue to raise funds, but also raise awareness and bringing you content to empower you to be financially fit and to stabilize your families, stabilize your households, and so that you can thrive. So it's Thriving Thursday, and we're going to let Charlene talk and just welcome our audience in. Welcome.
All right. Good evening. Thank you guys for joining us for our Thriving Thursday. For some of y'all, it's y'all Thirsty Thursday, but welcome. Let me tell you a little bit about First Home Alliance, who we are, what we do, the services that we provide, and where we provide those services. So First Home Alliance, we are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, nonprofit housing counseling agency, established by our president and founder, Mr. Larry J. Where did it come from? His mom purchased her first home at the age of 65, and that was a huge deal. So after serving close to 25 years in the United States Army, he decided to create his own job, and voila, this is how we came about. So what does First Home Alliance do? Our mission is to increase sustainable home ownership to low to moderate income family, along with serving our veteran community. The services that we provide are pre-purchase counseling, education, counseling. I want to buy a house. That's all I know. I want to buy a house. You sign up with us. We fill in the blanks. We fill in the blanks how you get to the finish line. We also provide the education. Our Thriving Thursday, we put that in our education piece. We also have our first-time homebuyers class, which is held usually every third Saturday of the month. That is our pre-purchase services. We also provide loss mitigation services. What is that? What does that mean? Loss mitigation means I own my home. I may be struggling. I may be facing a hardship, and I need somebody to help me. And so, First Home Alliance will act as an advocate on your behalf to help you sustain home ownership. But the number one thing that First Home Alliance wants to do is make sure that we prevent you from one, losing any assets, two, foreclosing. So that's our loss mitigation services. We also offer debt budget management as well as emergency preparedness. Where do we provide these services? We're located in Virginia, Maryland, as well as the south side of Chicago. But y'all hear me say it every Thursday. I know you're probably tired of hearing me say it. It doesn't matter where you are located. We can assist. So any of the services that I just went over piques your interest, you want to stay tuned to the end of our Thriving Thursday so you can find out how to get in contact with us. Larry?
All right, Charlene. Yes. And so you guys continue to track what we're doing here. And of course, we want you to link here. Stay tuned. Follow us on social media. And of course, you can put us a comment down there. And if you have any questions about the topic that we're talking about, definitely we talk about these services. And so we're not going to get into detail in reference to solving your problem here on live because it is a process in reference to getting a good intake you. And we definitely respect your privacy in reference to credit issues and identifying information to ensure that your information is not out there exposed to everyone. But we can answer general questions in reference to how your credit is affected, how some options in reference to buying your home and things of that sort. And we want to each week is to deliver a topic that we want you to concentrate on and give us feedback on that, because not only that we'll continue to give us multiple different topics, but also bring in some speakers. And so we're recruiting and asking some of our partners to come online and talk. So very soon you're going to get some topics, in reference to, I've been talking to a lot of people about securing your investment. And so when we speak of a securing that investment, and I think everything that you have, been involved in, that you have spent time in. So when we speak of investment, some may think that their investment is only your house, or, that investment is only your car, which it is. Those are some of them appreciating, some depreciating, some appreciating, are investments. And so when you have something of quality, some of value, you do want to protect that. Well, also you as an individual and you as an income earner is an investment. And so definitely if there's a loss, to income earner, then that's going to be a hardship. That's going to be a deep hardship on the family. So we're going to talk about investing that. I mean, not only are we protecting that investment and protecting you as the asset, you as an asset. And we have many other assets, and I highly recommend that you invest, in assets. And so, but when you invest in those assets, we're going to talk about protecting them. So we have some speakers coming up. Speaking of that, all different types of coverage of protecting. And of course, we're going to have health and wellness. We from anything from yoga to meditations to getting you started in the day, keeping you right in the frame of mind, but also into you guys that like nutrition, which is health. And so, and I think even taking care of your health is actually taking care of that asset, and you are an asset. And so you're an investment to whomever that depends on you as an investment, but you're also investing in yourself. And so you want to protect that asset, which is the individual, the breadwinner. And so taking care of your health, we're going to have those topics coming. And so what about your knowledge? Your knowledge is an investment. So this knowledge, this education that you have received, you want to protect that. And as you have invested, some has invested dearly in reference to their education, educating themselves. And is it important? Most definitely. Being educated on a matter in reference to your college education, it is extremely. And we want to protect that. How are we going to protect that? Well, not only are we going to protect that by, we have the education, we want to make sure that we maintain the education, but also put it to good use. But that's a huge burden in reference to the cost. There is a cost for education. And as we know, there's many American families that have high levels of debt, high levels of debt. Uh, I would say a large percentage of the individuals that are in our pipeline are the communities in which we serve. We have observed enormous amount of student loan debt. And of course, we work with them. Our counselors work with them in reference to how it fits within your budget. We want that, you to come up, use one of the payment plans. They have multiple levels of payment plan. And of course, the one that's based on your income is one that's highly recommended. But we want you to consider the payment plans of repaying that debt. We have individuals that, that go through different, I'm going to say, recovery options. Some recovery options in reference to sometimes you could just, work on a budget, and talk to a counselor and get it worked out in reference to it can fit within your budget so that you can actually repay your debt. Some have to go through some other options. Some have actually, to prevent the default and loss so much, may have to file bankruptcy. So there's some different options in that as an option as well. But tonight we're going to talk about some. Before we talk about some of those forgiveness, because we're not talking about the repayment option here. We're going to talk about some four of the options in reference to cancellation and forgiveness of that student loan. But before we get there, because why we want for you to work on one of the repayment plans, whether that's income based or job based, we want to pay on that. But also some of the reasons why you want to do that and how it could be damaging and maybe prevent you from home ownership. Charlene, talk to them about how that looks in reference to the obtaining a mortgage.
So when we talk about student loans and how it plays a role or how it looks in the transaction itself, there's two ways. Or let me not say there's necessarily two ways. A lot of times people defer their student loans. And so when you're going into a transaction in terms of purchasing a home and your student loan is in deferment, the lender must use 1% of the total balance towards your debt to income ratio. And so that can really make or break the transaction. So that's one thing. If you're thinking about purchasing prior to beginning that transaction, you want to reach out to the debtor, or excuse me, you want to reach out to the student loan company. I forgot the names of them. There's so many of them. You want to reach out to them and you want to get off of that deferment if you can and get and enroll in usually income-based payment plan. Because of the fact, again, if it's in deferment, they will use 1% of whatever that total balance is. And 9 times out of 10, it kicks the individual out in terms of the eligibility because that debt to income ratio is usually going to exceed that program guideline. So that's one. 2, if you have allowed your student loans to go into default and you are looking at a FHA loan, automatically you would be declined, denied, because when they ran your information in a system called KVERS, it would show that you owe federal debt, and that automatically would make you basically ineligible to get an FHA loan. Now, could you still get a conventional loan? Possibly, but always remember, FHA loan usually is less upfront, more in the long run. Conventional, more upfront, less in the long run. So that's how student loans plays a role in purchasing. Larry?
Yes, and Charlene, in reference to, because I've seen some repayments that individuals are making, of course, once you defer, it adds to the balance and things of that sort. But say if you got a student loan payment of, I don't know, say I'm gonna pick a number 700, about $700. How would that affect you qualifying for a mortgage for 500,000?
It's 700.
$700 a month repayment, a payment on your student loan.
Yeah, unless I'm going to say unless you 10 plus possibly per month, that's going to negatively affect your the amount of money that underwriter is going to think that you as a borrower will be able to afford.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yes. And so actually, if that's the price point and what the housing in this particular market, and that is the your affordability range, and if that's the house of your dream for 500,000, and you're having a student loan debt payment on your credit and making that payment, it reduces your income. And so that your qualifying income in reference to your debt to income is going to show that debt that you're making that payment, which is all good to make. However, it's going to take you out of that range of that $500,000 home based on your income.
Put you more like 3.
Yes. And so that's going to put you at 3. And so you would not be able to purchase a home in that neighborhood. And so,
right. And look, we're not saying that you can't purchase, right? You still could possibly purchase. It's just not necessarily like Larry said, if that was your dream property, that 4 or 5, yeah, you might be looking at, I ain't gonna say not so dream, but it's
you got to step down. So whether it's the the price neighborhood or the community neighborhood or that physical neighborhood, but you're gonna have to move from the 5. You got to move down to 350, 375. So now you're in a different location. You're in a different area. You're gonna have to purchase something different because you will not be able to qualify for that. And so we do want you to get control of that. And we know that given the different plans, and you do need to come up with a plan. You need to come up with a plan to actually get out of get out of debt.
Yes.
And so you want to come up with a plan for that. And when we start talking about student loan debt and making a plan for that, this is it's not a short term. It's not a short term thing. Student loan debt can take you anywhere from with a payment plans, with ranges, with student loans as low as $37,000. You know how long it takes for us to pay $37,000 when you're paying such a small percentage of your income for that? It can take a long time. But we see that this maybe $37,000 may be if you have student loan debt that you maybe attended a junior college, and come with the $37,000. But we're seeing individuals come with 37 is probably in some cases, it's just 1 year of college. And so individuals are having student loan debt, in the hundreds of thousands, 150,000, and some even higher. And so they are some large, and it is an investment. So is it worth it? And there's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of things to consider in reference to that investment into your family, and your future by taking on a student loan debt. I'm going to talk to you about some forgiveness programs. Now, next week, we're going to actually discuss some consolidation and refinancing of your student loan debt, and see if that's right for you for refinancing or doing some consolidation. Today, I want to talk to you about some forgiveness. And so this is the laws that have been passed. Some of these laws was put in effect in 2007. So that is nearly 20 years ago. And so I would expect some of these laws that we have that is stated today to even be changed within the coming 2 to 3 years. And so they're not going to stay there forever. Because when I first started repaying on student loan debt, I had some of my own, but also debt that I had shared the cost with. Some of these things were not in place. And so these are laws that was mostly established in 2007. Once the government open up opportunities for you to consolidate and taking some of your private debt and then put it into a federal repayment, they want to consider that. And we know that through different administrations, they have actually come up with some ideals and some options for individuals to basically be forgiven different amounts of debt. And some that was in some individuals that only had like $5,000 or $10,000 in debt, it basically really wiped out. But again, with average families of $37,000 and more, even a $10,000 reprieve makes a difference, but it do not necessarily settle and totally forgive. And so first, I want to talk to you about the one, and I'm going to say this is, neither one of these are my favorite. but I would say all is would be desirable if you qualify. And so, yes, if you qualify, because I think on these four forgiveness programs is some type of mechanism where you earn this forgiveness in this calculation, whether it's by default, whether it's by service, it's a way of earning this opportunity to be eligible for forgiveness. The first one I want to talk to you about is called the PSLF. And so I guess I asked a question: do any one of you work for the federal government? You know, where are you working in government? And I say federal. This could be federal government. Now, I'm not 100% sure in reference to what levels below federal. If it's state, I don't have the answers to that, but I do know federal government.
We did have a client that worked for the state that used this and was able to get forgiven not too long ago and purchased.
Okay. And so that is good. And so, but it sounds like there's going to be some states that you will be allowed for this. And so, and I do know because of how governments are set up, some states will, may be different from others. So yes. And so definitely consider that if you're working for state government. Here it says government. And so we're going to consider that. So if you're state government, federal government, whether you work for a nonprofit. So this includes First Home Alliance. And so if you're employed by First Home Alliance, or you may be employed by United Way, you may be employed by, whatever. There's a lot of, you should know the mission and the structure of the nonprofits that you work for. There are nonprofits that have for-profit arms, if I use that, or branches, such as you may be a manager or admin for a thrift store. That thrift store could be an arm of nonprofit. Most of your thrift stores, a high percentage, over 60, 70% of your thrift stores are nonprofit. So even if you work for a nonprofit, see what organization that you're supporting, that what arm of the agency. And so if you're, it could be a religious foundation, it could be a charitable foundation that actually, that is the umbrella over that thrift store. So check that out and see if your employment is under the nonprofit. It's education. It could be whether you could be a school teacher. And they have one that actually talks a little bit more about teachers. But this is if you're in the education system and public service. And so whether you're working in public service job. And so now we want to know that there is a federal program it's designed especially for the public service loan forgiveness program. And in short, this is called the PSLF. This program can completely erase all your student loans. And we're talking about the balance after you meet certain criteria. Now, today I'm going to break it down and I'm going to talk to you step by step who qualifies and what you need. Now, the PSLF program was created in 2007 to encourage professionals to pursue careers in public service. And these jobs, are vital. So it's not that you're having a job that's not, that's not important to us. It's important to your community, but it don't always come at the highest price. And so this is one of the reasons why this is considered. Jobs such as social workers, nurses, first responders, and like I mentioned before, nonprofit staff, government employees. Now, these are people that, basically you keep our society running. The challenges, of course, is that many of these professionals graduate with tens of thousands of dollars in reference to student loan debt. Now, this public service loan forgiveness program, it provides a relief for forgiving the remaining loan balance after 10 years of service. Now, and I'll just make sure that I may repeat some of this, but when we said 10 years it's 10 years of service. It's not 10 years of continuous service. It's 10 years collective. And so if you actually work for the federal government for 2 years and you stop that job and then you go out and start working for a private entity, then you come back and you work for a nonprofit for 3 years and then you go out and you come back. And so you'll collect, now you got 5 years. And then you start working for, become a first responder, whatever. It's a collective for 10 years. And so, and when during this time period, there have to be 120 qualifying monthly payments. So it had to be 120 qualifying monthly payments, and it do not have to be continuous. Now, there's four main requirements to qualify. You must work full-time for the government or these other organizations, or for the nonprofit. And as for the nonprofit, you have to ensure that that nonprofit is a charitable organization, and they do have the 501c3 tax exempt status. Only direct loans are eligible. So if you have older federal family education loans, that's the FFEL, or the Perkins loan, what you have to do is consolidate. And so you want to consolidate these into a direct consolidation loan for it to be eligible. And also, it had to be a qualifying repayment plan. You must be on the income-driven repayment plan. So I encourage you, whether you are qualified even for these forgiveness programs or just a repayment program, as positioned that in reference to low and moderate income, and ensuring that you have enough income for for housing and all your other responsibilities. That's something that you can be consistent with in reference to the percentage of your income. Get into the income-based repayment plan. So to qualify for this particular program for the public service loan forgiveness, you're going to have to be employed or enrolled into that service forgiveness plan. You have to be enrolled in the income base on the start. Pay as you earn. So or if you're in the new SAVE plan, the standard 10-year plan is technically qualified, but either one of those technically qualifies you. All right. Now, the qualifying payments I talked about, the 120 separate monthly payments, they do not need to be consecutive, like I mentioned. But they must be made while working full-time at the qualifying employer. So you have to be employed with that employer, of course, and these payments have to be made while working there. So meaning that prior to working for this particular employer, those do not count. And while you're working at the employer, you have to be working full-time. Okay. And it have to equal out to 10 years. So it's 10 years of monthly payments, which is going to be 120 monthly payments. And as I mentioned before, do not have to be consecutive, but they do have to be qualifying. Now, the key details and common pitfalls in this is they come here. Well, full-time, because of the definition. Full-time means at least 30 hours per week, or whatever your employer defines as full-time. As if you have multiplied qualifying part-time jobs that add up to 30 hours, you can still qualify. All right. The employer certification form is the ECF. This form is critical. You must submit this form every year or whenever you change job. It verifies that your employer qualifies and that your payments are being tracked correctly. The loan consolidation caution. If you consolidate your loans after making all the payments, you reset your payment count back to 0. That's why you should consolidate before starting the public service loan forgiveness. In reference to missed or late payments, these payments must be on time and for the full amount due. If you skip months, it don't count towards the 120. So it says you cannot skip. They have to be consecutive, but actually it is as consecutive. But if you actually break the time, you can actually start back. The service tracking as of 2022 is the only service handling these payments. And if you can send certification form and track your progress. Now, the good news is that there has been improvement in recent years with the waiver and also the account adjustments, the adjustments in the amount of your income payment amounts. And it has helped tens of thousands of borrowers basically stay consistent. And there's been a high success in this particular option for the public service loan forgiveness. An example would be, for some of the examples could be social workers. We have examples for teachers and also nonprofit administrators that have been successful in this program. And so that is the public service loan forgiveness program. It is, I think out of the four that we have, this one is the most popular and has had the highest success. Now, of course, as we're speaking here, if there's any questions or concern, please go ahead and make your suggestions or any comments on that, and we'll be glad to follow up with that. Now, for the HUD Counseling Agency, we're able to talk to you in reference to these plans, but we actually need for you to enroll into our program to become a client. And so I know some do not may push back in reference to counselor. Well, as a housing counselor and a housing counseling agency, we like to consider ourselves as financial advisors. We like to consider ourselves, we're more of a housing advisor, but we can give you suggestions in reference to financial matters. And, we are a financial educator. And so as housing advisors and as a HUD approved housing counseling agency, there is reporting that we would like to take, I'm going to say use the term, take advantage of. We consider this the advice that we're giving, the counseling that we're giving in reference to whether student loan debt or other debt as qualifying service activity under our model of providing these things to stabilize housing. And so, Charlene, what I would like for you to do is just talk to them a little bit about going through our intake process for them to come in and talk to us about whether it's student loan debt or any other debt financial matter.
Yes. So our intake process, guys, is pretty easy peasy. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think people get overwhelmed when we talk about paperwork. But First Home Alliance intake process, you can go to our website at www.firsthomealliance.org. You're going to click the service tab, and it's going to give you a drop down of the different services that we provide. Once you click the service that you're interested in, it's going to ask you for some pretty basic information, some demographic information, but the supporting documents that First Home Alliance will need, of course, is going to be your last 30 days financials, and that includes your paycheck stubs as well as your bank statements, the last 2 years of your taxes, and then the rest is agency disclosures that HUD requires that we have on file in order to provide those services. And the reason why we need that, guys, is because we're trying to look at the whole picture. You know what I mean? It's hard to give advice when you're not looking at the bigger picture or the whole picture. So that is why First Home Alliance asks for all of that information, so we can give you the best guidance that recommendations that we possibly can. So again, you're going to go to our website at www.firsthomealliance.org. You are going to click the service tab, okay? And so when you click that service tab, you're going to see the drop down of all the different services that we provide. Once you click the service that you're interested in, we're going to ask you to complete what is our intake, which has some demographic information on there. The supporting documents that we need, again, would be your last 30 days paycheck stubs, bank statements, last 2 years tax returns, and then our agency disclosures, which includes our authorization to be able to pull your credit. Again, this information is needed so we can give you the best recommendation based off of your circumstances. So we need to see what you got coming out, what you got coming in, so we can give you those recommendations that's going to help you achieve that goal, whether it be purchase a home, purchase a car, get on track with your student loans, or just, hey, Charlene, I want to talk to you because I just need to get on the good foot with my savings. A lot of times when we say it out loud or when we get somebody to hold our hand, we can usually achieve the goal just a little bit better. Larry?
All right. Thank you, Charlene, for getting let them know how we can get started on this. And how to get, we call it getting into the door. And we into the door, into the gate. First Home Alliance want to be known as the door to homeownership.
Gateway.
Yeah, or the gateway to homeownership. And so we want to be the first in line. And so we want you to start wherever. And when we say get in, where you fit in. And so this may be a way that you can become a part of our alliance, for student loan debt. And let us talk you to that. You may want to come in because there's so many individuals that think that you have to wait until you're in position to purchase a home before you can become a client or before you become a member. You don't have to wait until it's time to purchase a home. And just because it says First Home Alliance, of course, we're want to do the doorway, the gateway to homeownership, but also we want to be a gateway to stabilizing your household situation. And that household situation can be you as a tenant, as a renter, is stabilizing. And also, if you're already a homeowner, but the situation is not stabilized. Well, we are talking about stabilizing and your situation. So come in, do your application, do your intake. And when I say get the credit, we want the credit for partnering with you in your journey of successful homeownership and stabilizing financial situation. And so tonight, again, we're talking about this student loan forgiveness. The next option off of the four that we're talking about today is the teacher loan forgiveness. And so on this particular option, it's a little bit different than the public service loan forgiveness. This is for teachers. And so I'm going to walk you through how you qualify for this one. The teacher loan forgiveness program, it was established to attract and retain highly qualified teachers in school. It served low-income communities. And so the program allow eligible teachers to receive forgiveness up to $17,500. Now, there is a minimum of $5,000, but up to $7,000. There is a cap. And so up to $17,500. And this is after 5 complete and consecutive academic years of teaching service. So there are some guides to fit within there. And of course, you see, it's different from the public service forgiveness that takes up to 10 years working a job. For the teacher, is only 5 years. The teacher loan forgiveness requires a shorter commitment, and however, the maximum benefit is capped. This type of teaching assignment you hold determines whether you received a higher or the lower amount. Okay, and so it do consider the assignment of the teacher, to what communities that you're serving, as to qualify for this particular loan. So the requirements is only direct loans, and that's federal Stafford loans that qualify, plus loans, which is the both the parent or the graduate plus, and the Perkins, but the Perkins loan, they do not qualify. Eligible schools, you must teach in a school that is listed in the Teacher Constellation Low Income Directory. So you want to make sure that you check that. That is published each year by the Department of Education, and see if that you're in that particular area that qualifies. These schools are generally they service low income families. Your length of service, you must teach full time and for 5 complete and consecutive academic years. At least one of those years must be after 1997 to 1998 academic year. The certification for high qualified teachers, you must be considered a highly qualified teacher, which typically means holding at least a bachelor's degree, full state certification, and no license waivers. So you're on a waiver, you need to make sure that is lifted and there is no waiver within your license. The type of teaching assignment determines forgiveness, and that amount is up to $17,500 for teachers of math, science, and also special education. Up to $5,000 for other elementary and secondary teachers. Okay, so this is the program for our teachers, and we would like, if you fit within that category, come in and talk to us. Of course, we'll check out those guidelines and see if you're eligible within those, that the teaching parameters there, and get you started in there. And you see, it's a short amount of time, consistency for 5 years for teachers. Okay, and so Charlene, we're going to have some good news coming out soon, and we don't want to rush it because there's going to be some floodgates opening. It's going to be some floodgates opening. And so I would just like to let your lenders know, your realtors know, that you want to be on our list. You definitely want to be on our list, because we're gonna continue to invite you not only to join us for what is time to work, which that's definitely I say time to work, like these hours here. we would like for our realtors, our loan officers, our real estate professionals, those community members to be on our list. That's a list you want to be on, because we want to invite you out to talk on our live stages and platforms, but also when we're in person. And I think you're going to really enjoy being in person with us for a lot of different live events where, we just had an event in April, which was at the Veterans Park. It was a live event. I forget the participation this year, but our participation in this event has ranged anywhere annually from 50 to 60 people up to 150. And so that is in April. And just we can do this in part, Charlene. Talk to them about our next live. Next live event is actually an education course. But talking about our largest event that's coming up in November.
Yeah, so First Home Alliance largest event, our largest annual event, if you want to look at it that way, is our annual awards gala this year. The theme is going to be A Night in Paris. It's going to be located at the Hilton Garden Inn on the 8th, kicks off at 6 o'clock. It's a great opportunity for those of you who would like to showcase your business, get out here in the community. You serve two purposes. You are able to get some marketing going on along with serving your community and giving back to your community. This is one of First Home Alliance largest annual event. Our second one is the one Larry just discussed about our Community Appreciation Day. But again, our Night in Paris, that's going to be on November 8th at 6 p.m. is when it kicks off. That is our networking and reception. And then at 7:30, we start our actual awards gala. We will have some live entertainment out there with X Factor. They've been supporting First Home Alliance for several years. Great band. When I tell y'all, a good band, I mean a good band. I mean, a couple of years ago, I had some family members attend the awards gala, and they said, we was pretty shocked. We didn't think it was going to be like this. We said, yeah, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Yes. So with that being said, if you're thinking that this is going to be one of those stuffy awards gala, absolutely not. We have a wonderful band. We have some great food, and we have some amazing people who come out and support First Home Alliance. And so again, if you are a business owner and you're trying to figure out how can I kill two birds with one stone, it would be you're able to support your community along with coming out and having a great time and showcasing that business. We do have sponsorship opportunities. We also have early bird special in reference to the tickets. Right now, the tickets are $100, but we do have that special that's going on. Again, sponsorship level starting at $10,000. Going all the way to, I'm going to say about $250. And then again, we have our early bird ticket special going on right now at $100. Again, the event is going to be located in Prince William County. We are coming back to the county because I don't think we've been in the county since, I want to say 2012 may have been the last time that we had this event in our Prince William County area. And so that's a good thing, especially for those of you, if you like me and you don't like to drive at night. This is perfect because if you do have to drive at night and you live locally, you won't have to drive too far. But again, it is a great opportunity for individuals to showcase their businesses and support their community and support our clients who have made us who we are. You know what I mean? And so again, that's going to be on November 8th and it kicks off at 6 o'clock. Larry?
All right. Yes. And a reminder, I know not everybody's going to be able to show up in person. And so if you're a business owner and you want to brand and sponsor and, just grab attention, but also a way of giving back to the community, of course, your donation is tax deductible to the fully extent of the law. And so you can advertise for this event. Where we're going to have a digital souvenir journal that you will be posted in that digital journal. Your information is whether it's an advertisement or your logo. It depends on the level of your investment in your sponsorship. If you want the basic sponsorship of 100, I think 250, you're going to have your logo posted on our website and on the event page, and also on going out on social media. And so you're going to get the notoriety and branding opportunities just with that $250. This amount, and even if you show up or not, this amount is totally tax deductible. And of course, the higher levels of sponsorship, whether it's $500 more, then you're going to have you're going to have an ad. You're going to have to you can post an ad. Of course, there's prices that goes up. You get actually, whether it's going to be a smaller ad or a larger ad. These are ads that's going to be on our website for a number. I think we still have the sponsors that was from last year. So your information is going to be out on our website, even after the page is closed and the event has happened, where you're going to be receiving that information. You're going to be receiving responses to your marketing, and of course, highlighting what you're doing for the community. And so please consider that. And so whether you are able to attend or not, it is a marketing and outreach opportunity for your business, whether you're here or not. And you can also say, hey, I don't want to advertise, my business. It's not all about that. I just want to give a donation. What that is this time of year to give to the organization, so that we can continue to provide services to our community at mainly no cost. We're providing the services, actually helping individuals not only with student loan debt, but also debt situations, in most cases avoiding those situations, but those that are there, helping them solve those financial situations, whether repayment plans, forgiveness options, or even liquidating in some points. So, of course, we specialize when it comes to the mortgage in the house in reference to coming out with workout plans and repayment and modifications and things of that sort. And even we do reverse mortgage counseling. So we provide all that. And these services, the majority of the services that we offer, is at no cost at all. And when there is a cost, such as maybe reverse counseling, it's a nominal fee, and it's required. It's required that you have that third party advisor before going forward with your reverse mortgage. Default mortgage right now, basically, in some cases, you may cover a fee of a credit card pull, and that information, that cost is basically a third party fee that is transferred over. And so if it's covered in some way, whether it's through a grant or some other third party that's covering that, to the homeowner, it's no fee, because we understand that you're in default, you're recovering from a situation. And so we do not want that this assistance of any way to be any further compromising your financial situation. Okay, so definitely keep us in mind for that donation, for that sponsorship, for that branding opportunity at our annual gala, or anytime really, but it's at the end of the year, and this is the time and it's the season to consider those contributions. So please do so. Okay, we're going to move on to our third option here. The third option we're going to talk about is probably the one that takes the longest. It's the one that takes the longest. This is the one that, of course, we talk about being on your income-driven repayment plan. We want to be, and if you are consistent with it, it still pays off. Now, so we asked, what is, and this one, you may have heard this one. I know it's called IDR. And so, of course, what is IDR? And so IDR, forgiveness, is tied to the income-driven repayment plan. These plans are set, they set your monthly payment based on your income and family size, usually between 10 to 20% of your discretionary income. After making payments for a set number of years, and that's normally either 20 years or 25 years, depending on the plan, of your remaining loan balance is forgiven. Now, of course, it's not the 10-year, but 20 years. And if you look at the amount, it actually works out, because there are many individuals that get out of college, at 25, 26 years old, and they're 50 and they still making that payment. Some are barely getting those things paid off when they get about 60. So you get started early, and depending on the plan and remaining balance, it can be forgiven, as early as 20 years later. This option is open to all federal loan borrowers, regardless of your career or your employer. So you do not have to be in the the public service sector. That's what's make it different from the public service loan service forgiveness plan. Okay, and it also makes it different from the teacher's loan forgiveness as well. It's available for all. There are four major IDR plans. They're through the Department of Education is simplifying the new SAVE plan, and it's income based. The payments equal 10 to 15% of the discretionary income. A forgiveness after 20 years for the new borrower and 25 years for the old borrower. You pay as you earn. The payments are 10% of discretionary income, and the forgiveness after 20 years. You must borrow. You must have borrowed this money after October 2027. And then number 3 is the revised pay as you earn. Now it's called a SAVE plan. Up under that plan, the payments equal 10% of discretionary income. And the forgiveness is after 20 years. And this is undergraduate loans, or 25 years for the graduate loans. And this new SAVE plan is making payments even more affordable by shielding more of your income. And the fourth option is the income contingent repayment. It's the ICR. These payments are 20% of discretionary income, or their fixed amount based on 12-year repayment adjusted for income. And this forgiveness comes after 25 years. So you see, depending on your loan and when you borrowed the money, you may be eligible for different IDR plans, each leading to eventually forgiveness. And so the benefits of the IDR forgiveness is one, the affordable payments. The monthly payments scale with your income. If your income is low, your payment can be as low as 0, okay, and still count as a qualifying payment. Universal access, unlike the public service loan forgiveness, you don't have to work for government or nonprofit, and any career path qualifies. And then the forgiveness at the end, after 20 to 25 years, no matter what your balance is, the remainder is forgiven. This creates a light at the end of the tunnel for the borrowers with high balances relative to your income. Essentially, it's a long-term safety net. And limitation and consideration. Of course, there are some important limitations. A length of time, 20 to 25 years, is a loan commitment. But it's faster. Of course, the FSLS is faster at 10 years for qualifying borrower. There's some tax implications. And unlike the public service loan forgiveness, the forgiveness balance under the IDR is currently considered taxable income, except for the temporary tax relief through 2025 under the American Rescue Plan. That means if you have $50,000 forgiveness, you may face a significant tax bill. There's annual recertification. You must certify your income and family size every year. Missing the deadline can cause your payment to jump. Then we have the loan types. Only the direct loans qualify. The FFEL or the purchase loan need consolidation first. So while the IDR forgiveness is a lifeline, it requires careful management. Okay, and so that is our third area of for forgiveness. And so what I want to talk to you about now is about what's going to happen at 11:30 on these. Put it up here so I can see. At 11:30 on November 8th at 2025. Had an opportunity to share this with the chamber today in reference to our veterans. We want you to support our veteran community. And how you're going to do that is basically making a donation, making a contribution. The American Legion Post 114 is actually right around the corner from actually getting all the finances needed to begin construction on a new facility. This is a new post home for the American Legion Post 114, and also 12 units of affordable housing. This affordable housing is going to be for our veterans and workforce. Okay, these units is going to accommodate 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom of units, a total of 12 of them. It's going to be 6 duplexes and a new post home. The American Legion Post right now, we meet today at their first AME church there in Manassas, and thanks to the pastor and the congregation for allowing us to use the space for the meetings, for the camaraderie, and the build and service for our veterans. And so, but we would like our own home so we can have a place to meet and support our veteran community. And this will actually help that to happen, to continue the legacy since 1945 of those 16 African-American veterans that actually founded the organization, to continue their legacy. So let's support this event. This is our annual fundraiser. It's for continual operation of the American Legion Post and also for veteran housing. And this is a way you can do that by making a donation or consider a sponsorship. Definitely want you to consider that. And participation. Come out with a single ticket. It would be a memorable event. We're going to have a flag dedication there to a member. And also, we're going to do some other awards. And recognize this year, we're going to recognize a person that served in the Korean War. There's not a lot of those guys still around. So we're going to recognize one of our veterans. And so we want you to come out and participate. That is going to be on November the 8th. And the luncheon starts at 11:30. It's 11:30 to 1 p.m. And you can scan the barcode there and get more information, and consider joining us, supporting us, or making your contribution to the American Legion Post 114. Okay, now with that, we're going to go to our last area of the program in reference to our forgiveness. There's actually two of the permanent forgiveness. In just short, I will tell you about the total and permanent disability discharge. Now, there are individuals that have served in the military, some are that have not served in the military, and have a certification in reference to the total and permanent disability. And they may not know of the advantages of that when it comes to the student loan debt. And so they may have used that advantage or consider that advantage in reference to forgiveness on the mortgage and maybe an automobile. But also, if there's student loan debt, and if you permanently and totally disable from the military or otherwise, then your student loan debt can be forgiven as well. And so we want you to make sure that you qualify, bring in the qualifying documents, and we make sure that that is submitted and that your student loan debt, it will be wiped away if you're totally and permanently disabled. And the other one is the closed school the closed school option. And so up under this closed school, this option, a closed school discharge cancel your federal student loan if the school closed while you were enrolled or soon after you withdraw. This applies to the direct loan, that's the FFEL loans, and the Perkins loan. Okay, the eligibility requirements: you must have been enrolled in the school while it closed or withdrawn within 120 days before closure, sometimes longer if approved by the Department of Education. You must not have completed your program through a teach out or a transfer agreement to another school, or transferred your credit to an applicable program. Only federal loans qualify, not private loans. Okay. And so again, that is the two options, other options, that your debt can be totally discharged. That's total and permanent disability, and for closed school. All right. Charlene, I think that is it in reference to the topic for tonight. And go ahead and tell us about our announcements.
Announcements. I'm going to tell them to you real quick. I got 60 seconds or less. So our next upcoming class is going to be October 18th at the McCourt Building. Again, our next big event is going to be November 8th. This is going to be our awards gala. And then again on November 8th, we'll have our veteran luncheon with American Legion Post 114. As always, please join us every Monday at 7:15 a.m. as we start our week off with Tippy, getting those good exercise in and some financial fitness tips all in one. Again, if you're unable to watch, just we want you to remember to always click like and share so you can watch it at your leisure. Don't forget, we need the participation. I broke it down. We need about 333 likes, clicks, or 83 per month to reach our goal of 4,000 that we would need annually. So that's not a lot. So we really feel like our audience can help us get there. And we all, as always, we appreciate your support. Larry?
Okay. Please click like, share. And we'll see you next time. Follow us on social media and also visit our website for upcoming events and more activities and services we provide. That's firsthomealliance.org. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.